Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Kat. I am the Nurse Flipper. I am a full-time reseller on Whatnot, eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, and Etsy. So I have been asked over and over to do a video on Whatnot, and I said I was not going to, but I have decided that I am. So what I am going to do in this video is basically just talk with you. I will talk about my setup, how I run things, and I'll also give some tips that I think could help increase your sales as well as your followers on Whatnot. And if you're already there, hopefully this will help. If you're thinking about it, I hope this will help you as well. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so I want to start this off by addressing some comments I've been getting. I have been reporting slow eBay sales, and a lot of people, not a lot, but a few of you have said, I think it is Whatnot's fault. I disagree with that 100%, because if somebody's looking for something specific, I don't think they're gonna spend hours sitting on auctions on Whatnot hoping they find it. So I do still think that eBay has that buy it now market. However, Whatnot has also created a marketplace. This is brand new, and they do have a function. You can copy your Poshmark listings directly to Whatnot. I will be doing that myself here soon, and I will update you as to how that goes. So as far as a Whatnot sale, I will say in order to sell on Whatnot, you do need to be approved. So a few tips on being approved. I think if you submit a video of you showing your personality as well as the amount of inventory you have, that will increase your chances to getting approved faster. So you do have to get approved. I'll drop a link in the comments to my referral link, and that sometimes can help the process go a little faster. Now, after you get approved, you do have to go to a live onboarding session. It is only, I think it's only about an hour, and they do have a little post test after it. And after that, you are approved to sell. So there are a few ways that you can sell on Whatnot. Now they have marketplace, so that is one. I have not used that personally, so I can't attest to that. So while you are having a live auction, you can either add the items as you go, or you can have them catalog. Now, there are multiple ways to catalog. So the way that I personally do it is I number every item in the sale, and we photograph every item. I will tell you it takes about 2 to 2.5 hours to catalog our sales, which are 100 items per sale. So if you do that, your customers already have a photo. If they don't, a lot of people watching Whatnot auctions ask for a screenshot. So be prepared for that. Just hold the item up for an extra second so that they can take a screenshot, because they want to remember what they bought. I fortunately do not have to do that, because I tell them, hey, I take a picture, everything's cataloged, it'll be on your invoice. So I like having things organized. I have not yet run an uncatalogued show, but I do plan on in May trying some daytime shows that are not going to be cataloged. So I can also update as to that as well. So I sell jewelry. That is my main thing. I have done some linens on there as well. If you're selling jewelry, I wish I had some. I get little 3 by 5-inch money envelopes, and we number them A1 through A100. We actually have 4 sets of envelopes. We have 2 A's, a B, and a C. So if you only wanted to do a show with 30 items, you could do that. 50 items, there's no requirement to how many items you have to do. I found I can do 100 items in about 2 to 3 hours. And that is a good length for me. I have some friends that will do 8-hour shows. More props to those of you that do the longer shows. I prefer 2 to 3 hours. You also can do a shorter show though. You could do an hour, you could do a half hour, whatever you have time for. So I like having them cataloged, and I have found that as a new seller, if you have good items, you photograph them, you put the title in there, let them know. And I don't put a ton of information, and I don't do a description, but I will put with my jewelry the length of the necklace, the color, if there's a gemstone in it, the maker if there is one. People, I believe, do search for certain makers. So if you have really good inventory and you have this show catalog, they will find your item. I saw a new seller sell over $1,000 in like 10 minutes because she brought amazing name brand items. So people do search for those items. The earlier you can catalog, the better. We do 5 shows a week, so unfortunately most of ours are only cataloged on the same day, earlier in the day. However, when I did my one linen show, because I am not a linen seller, I cataloged that show over a week early. So that's another tip. If you are a new seller, and this is Whatnot's recommendation as well as my own, they say you should have at least 4 shows scheduled out. The longer you have shows scheduled out, the more bookmarks you will get. And what a bookmark is somebody is setting a reminder to notify them when your show starts. So the earlier you schedule these shows, the more chance that you will have more people watching them. And I have started, I'll schedule 1 to 2 weeks at a time. I've been trying to do 2 weeks. I would like to do a month, but my schedule changes so much, it's kind of hard to do a month for me. And remember, I am doing 5 shows a week, so a month for me would be 20 shows. So I would recommend, if you're doing 1 show a week, schedule a month out, whatever day it is. Try different times of the day, because different times work for different people. There are people on Whatnot 24 hours a day. I've seen people at 2 or 3 in the morning, and take time zones into account. So for me, I am Eastern. So when it's midnight here and I might be going to bed, it is only 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. It is only 9 p.m. over on the West Coast. So for you West Coast sellers, keep in mind, you might have a market of East Coast buyers that are not going to stay up that late. They might, you never know. Again, I've seen people do 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, and it works. But I would try different times of the day when you are first starting. Of course, whatever works with your schedule is whatever works, but try different times of the day. You might sell more during the day, you might sell more at night, you might sell more on a Tuesday than you sell on a Saturday. We actually have our best sales during the week. The weekends are the slowest sales for us, so we take off either Saturday or Sunday every week, because those typically are slower sales days. And I think maybe for my buyers, that's because it's the weekend, they're out doing things with their family, and they're not trying to watch Whatnot. So that is a tip for you. See when yours are. Your people might be home during the weekends. Now, another thing besides cataloging is go into other shows that are selling what you sell. So I sell jewelry. If you're selling comics, if you're selling plush, if you're selling clothing, go into those sellers. And the majority of sellers on Whatnot will allow you to advertise during their show. I would ask them before just sharing, or you might find yourself blocked from that seller's show. I would go into as many as you can. Tell people about your show. If it is allowed and that seller says, oh, let everybody know if you're a seller, you can say, hey, I've got this great clothing sale coming up on Friday. It's going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern. Put your time zone in that chat, guys. Everybody is from everywhere. You need to let them know what time zone you're in, and then let them know if you, like, I'm going to have women's plus size clothing new with tags, or I'm going to have used purses. Here are a few of the brands. Let them know what you're selling and talk about it as often as you're able, because the more that you talk about it, the more bookmarks, the more people that will be in your show. And it is going to take a time to build up a following. if you do not already have one on social media. That it was my hesitation with making this video, is I came into it with over 60,000 YouTube followers. So for me, it is a bit easier than it is for most because I brought my own following. However, I know multiple sellers that had no social media following that are making 5 figures at least a month on Whatnot. 5 figures, guys. 5 figures on Whatnot. It is possible. I think you need to bring the best inventory. I personally source only for Whatnot. I do not try to put like, oh, this hasn't sold on eBay for 2 years, let me throw it on Whatnot. I don't want people to feel like they're getting leftovers or second best. That is just my way of doing things. Now, as far as setting up Whatnot, I have found that iPhones are more compatible with Whatnot. I am an Android user, but because I am doing so well on Whatnot, I chose to buy an iPhone. And this iPhone is only for Whatnot. I still use Android all the time. iPhone only for Whatnot. And what we do is we have our camera set up. So what we do is we set the iPhone up. It is what is the camera for the show. And then what we do is we start the auctions from a laptop. So we have 2 devices. You also could use 2 phones for this, but it can be hard to start items as well as use that as a camera. So I typically have somebody help me. You do not have to. You definitely can do it by yourself, but I would put a laptop or another phone on either your right or left, whichever is your dominant hand, so that you can start the listing. Now, as far as cataloging, you also could put jewelry, put that you have 100 items and not photograph any. And then you would just pull the item out and it tells you the number. So again, we use the manila coin envelopes and we reuse them. So when we go to pack, Whatnot will give us a list. It is an invoice and it'll say this buyer bought number 5, number 7, number 13, and we dump those out and then we package them up. And then we reuse those envelopes. We have to put them in order every time, but that cuts down on like plastic bags, non-reusable stuff. I do choose to use jewelry boxes to protect my items. Some sellers just wrap in bubble wrap. That is all dependent on you. So in the actual listing, you will have to pick whether it is auction, buy it now, or a giveaway. So I do auction on 90% of my items on there. I do have some items in buy it now, and I do recommend that if you have multiples or some cool stuff, maybe even more expensive stuff, throw it in the buy it now. And so the nice thing about it, if you catalog, let's say you're a new seller, so you sell 20 items out of 100, you still got 80 that are unsold at the end of it. Whatnot allows you to copy those items. It's called cloning. You go to your seller dashboard, you click on the day of the sale, and it'll say clone to another stream. So what you could do is clone those 80 items to your next show and just add 20 new ones. That is what I would do if I had a large amount that was unsold, because I already took the time to photograph and catalog them. Now, as far as giveaways, I run 6 giveaways a show. Giveaways get people into your show, they gain you followers, and I do recommend on giveaways choosing followers only. And you also can choose whether you want to do international shipping or not. I do allow international buyers to enter my giveaways. It is $15 in shipping if one wins. So with the giveaway, you pay the shipping for that buyer. Now, if that buyer has purchased from you before they win a giveaway, you would just pay the additional postage. But if they win a giveaway before they purchase something from you, you're responsible for that shipping cost. The nice thing is, and make sure to let people know, oh, you just won the giveaway, you now get discounted shipping on anything else the rest of the show. So that kind of entices those giveaway winners to buy stuff because they're getting discounted shipping on you because they won a giveaway. So that's another thing that really helps. I think one of the most important things is you need to pay attention to the chat, whether it is on the phone you are streaming from or it is on the second device that you are starting your auctions from. One of my biggest pet peeves is I have been in chats, asked them to run something, and they just totally ignore me. At least let them know I run everything in order. I'm a little bit OCD. So what we do is say, hey, we run everything in order, but we can tag you when that item comes up. So at least acknowledge them. I would recommend though, if you're a smaller seller without many followers, I would go in order of request because you have that buyer there right now. You might not be selling much. So if they want you to run number 55 at the beginning, run it. Get as many sales as you can. I also think choice auctions could be a really, really valuable tool for those of you that are new. And that is the format that I am going to use for my daytime shows starting in May. So the big thing that I've seen with choice is a lot of people put too much out there. So if I'm looking at 20 items, it's going to be really hard. It's like a lot of overstimulation, which speaking of, I do not play music. I find it very, very distracting. Just my personal opinion. A lot of people have expressed that they feel the same way, but that is totally a personal preference. What I will do with my choice auctions is put 5 items up for bid and the winner can pick one of those 5 items. So that way you only have 5 items for them to choose from. I have had where I offered like a whole tray of like 40 pendants they could pick and the bidding did not go very high, and then I run one of those by itself and it goes for like $8 or $9. So that kind of got me thinking that I'm overwhelming my buyers by showing them too many choices. So I would say just offer them 4 or 5 things that they can choose from. And then again, it will have a number. So you'll just put that item in that number bag. Or I do resin artwork, and with my mushrooms that I make, little mushroom trinket boxes, I will use little post-it tabs and I stick them. I'm trying to see if I have any, but I don't. But I will put the number on the little post-it tabs and stick it so when I go to pack, I know which one is number 1, number 2, number 3, etc. And that helps to organize it. If you have got it cataloged, even if it's only putting jewelry 100 items, you can at least keep your show moving, because buyers will get frustrated if they're sitting there for minutes and nothing is available to purchase. So I think being organized is key. I actually just ordered a new background and display because I've been making so much resin stuff. It's like so overwhelming and cluttered in my background. I want to be able to display that better. So hopefully you will see that on my whatnot, or have already seen it. I'm hoping it'll come in here soon. And I'm just trying to organize it. So make your background look nice. Be very, very careful moving the phone around quickly. Nothing is going to annoy buyers faster than this. Move your phone slow, or your camera, whatever you are using. Do not zoom around. They can't see stuff. They cannot see stuff. I also think games can be a really good thing to do. I was doing giveaways for a while. So doing giveaways is a great way to kind of entice people to buy things. I did giveaways if bids reach $10. So you could set a threshold, even $5, give them a free little gift with their purchase. And I've seen like Dawn Sanford and Son does the claw game where she just grabs a handful of a certain color of jewelry. People absolutely love that. So find a way to incorporate the audience into the show. Sometimes people don't talk. I will have 80 people in my room, nobody's talking. So I will spend time describing the item. I also will call the bids as they are coming in. You just need to keep interacting whether they are or not, which can be hard. I, again, luckily have experience. I've been on YouTube 3.5 years. I'm used to talking to people that are not talking back to me because I record these videos and I don't hear anybody talking back. So be very, very interactive with your audience. Now, another thing when you set up your listings is the weight that you put in is the weight of the item once it's in a box. So for jewelry, that typically will be about 3 to 4 ounces. It will depend on the item. Coffee cups are going to be 2 pounds, but you put the item, and then when you go to pack, you can edit that label. So if they bought 2 or 3 items, the total weight might only be 5 ounces instead of 9 ounces. So you want to edit your label, and you just hit create label, and then you can print label. As far as shipping goes, the Whatnot labels on the bottom right corner have the username. So on eBay, when we pack, we put the zip code. But on Whatnot, when we pack, we write the buyer's username on the package, because we bulk create the labels, we bulk print them out, and then we just attach them. So we keep all of those orders in order as we pack them. We have little bins, and the poly mailers can go in there, and then the labels will come off in that order, and we just peel and stick, and we ship out about 40 to 50 5 times a week. So quite a few, and that is something that definitely will help. So again, Whatnot is not for everybody. You need to be personable. I would say be upbeat, have a good attitude. People need to want to come back to your shows. So be very personable. Know that it might not be a quick road. It might take a while, but by going into other streams, sharing your name, sharing your shows, you will build an audience. If you bring good inventory, you also will. I have learned starting things at $2 typically gets me more than if I started them at 5 or 10 for the same item. That is just kind of a mentality. People love it starting low. However, if you are a new seller, I would start it at the lowest amount you're willing to take, just like I recommend on eBay. But do not expect to get eBay prices on Whatnot. Whatnot is not eBay. So for an item that I might get 100 for on eBay, I might only expect 25 on Whatnot, but I'm selling it in a day. I'm selling it in one day, not 6 months or a year that it might sit on eBay. So it is really up to you if you think this is a platform you will like and you will do well on. If you are not personable, that sounds bad. That sounds bad. But if you don't like talking to people, I think it would be probably a pretty difficult thing. Getting over the shyness and kind of awkwardness, that you can do with practice. You'll get more and more used to talking to people, and it might take a little while. But if you don't like interacting with people, probably not the best platform for you. And again, I am putting my referral link down in the comments so that if you want to sign up as a seller, you are more than welcome to use my link and sign up. Sometimes that does expedite the process of getting approved. Make sure you send those photos. Now, as far as what I use to hold my phone, I have a pretty expensive desktop phone holder that's actually made for like art creators to shoot straight down, and it is by Canvas.co is the name of the one that I use. You could use any old tripod, but I would get a good phone holder, because that is one of the biggest pieces of selling on Whatnot. You also need to make sure you have a pretty decent internet connection, because you are live. And if you don't have good connection, people can't hear you. They can't see the item they're bidding on, and that would be pretty frustrating for them. There is also a Facebook group called Whatnot for Resellers. It was founded by my good friend Dom, Primetime Treasure Hunter. That is on Facebook. Make sure you go join that. Tons of support on there. You can get ideas about what to do in your Whatnot shows, and just a really good sense of community. If you're doing jewelry like I do, there is Jewelry Whatnot Sellers as well on Facebook. So that's a good group as well. And I would say if you want to do it, try it. Don't expect overnight success. It might take you months until you are doing well on there. I am doing very, very well. I am very, very pleased with it. But again, gonna point out, I came with a following. So If you do not have that following, do not expect to get a ton of sales at first. If you come bringing fire and those hot name brands, amazing pieces, you might just get lucky. So I think if you bring really good inventory, keep up the shows, be consistent, 1 a week, 2 a week, how many ever you want to do, make sure you schedule them ahead of time and make sure you are interacting with the chat. I think these are kind of my main things, so I hope this helps. I have not done a little sit down and talk with you video in quite a while. I've just been doing research videos and what sold. So I really hope this helps. I hope it answers some of your questions. I'm gonna go ahead and I will show you a picture of my setup when it is set up with the phone and our little background. We have a table. We did it on our dining room table forever, is where we did our whatnot shows. Now we have it in our spare bedroom. And also I will show you the envelopes we use, the bins we use. Those are all in my Amazon recommendations if you would like to use them. All right, so here is behind the scenes that you don't normally see on a whatnot show. So we have the computer. My daughter does help me. We will have it here on whatnot to pull up the items, and this is where she will pin them as well as pin the giveaways. And so Brooke is sitting here. You could do this with one person. And then I have a bin of the items that I'm selling, so I'll pull them, put them here to show them. And this is the canvas.co stand that I have. And I like it because I can move it up, down. I can tilt it straight down on the jewelry here, and I can move it closer. So I just tilt it to show the stuff in the back, turn it to go flat. So I think this is worth it. We did drill it directly into the table because this table my husband made me specifically for whatnot. So we just did a show last night. So here you can see I put people's names so that I know whose item they are. And if they're numbered like I do my pendants, you can see here are the numbers. So when we go to ship this, we'll have the numbers. And then I have a bin. So there's a bin on the left and there's a bin on the right. So the left for me is unsold, and then I'll move it to the right once it's sold. And then this is where we'll pull. So we'll come here and say they ordered C78. We'll pull that out, C82. We pull them out and then we dump them and pack them together. So that is how we do it. I just reuse these envelopes, put them back in order. Now I have my pendants under here. I like to have a solid background to show it. And unfortunately this table got scratched, so that's why I don't lay directly on the table. And then I'll uncover and show this stuff as well. I also, right to my left, I keep my ring holder, my bracelet holder, and my earring holder. So it's really accessible. So I think it's important to have everything you need within reach. So I've got my tabs to market, I've got a pen, and I've got a bin for sold, and my items waiting to be sold. So this is behind the scenes for our setup. As I said, you could use a second phone. You could do it all on one phone. It just makes it a lot easier to use 2 different devices. So I hope seeing a little behind the scenes of what the actual table it looks like and is set up helps you. If you have any more questions, drop them down in the chat. I do respond to every comment. I will try to answer them to the best of my ability, and if I get enough, I might do another whatnot video. So I hope this has helped. I appreciate you watching and hanging out with me. Let me know what you think. If you haven't subscribed, definitely do that. I will see you on the next one, or over on whatnot, guys. 5 nights a week, 8:30 most of the time. Come hang out with me. I would love to see you there.